at 6 a.m. on this Thursday morning, a small tribute grows outside Boston's Apple store in the memory of a giant of innovation. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Paula Evans.
And I'm Carrie Connolly in for David Wade. We're glad you're with us. His life cut short by illness, lives of millions worldwide benefit from his contributions. Well, he has been called the Thomas Edison of our time. Apple's co-founder Steve Jobs passed away yesterday at the age of 56.
This morning, the tributes are pouring in from around the world. WBZ's Sarah Kanji joins us from the Apple store on Boylston Street. And it is interesting, Sarah, he transformed the relationship between people and his products, and his death's touching a lot of them.
Well, anyone, Paula, who owns and enjoys an iPod, iPad, or iPhone can thank Steve Jobs. Take a look at the outpouring of support behind me here. This is in front of the Apple store on Boylston Street. Candles, flowers, obviously a show of sadness for Steve Jobs. About a year after his diagnosis, he spoke at the Stanford University commencement in 2005. It was a rare personal insight into this very public figure.
Death is the destination we all share. No one has ever escaped it. And that is as it should be, because death is very likely the single best invention of life.
He's been called a modern-day Edison, Steve Jobs, the man behind the devices and technology that have transformed daily life.
Mostly gratefulness for all that he's given us, all the inventions, and honestly, this company is his greatest legacy, and that continues.
Outside Apple stores in Boston and around the country, flowers lay as a tribute to the company's co-founder. He lost his battle with cancer yesterday at the age of 56. Hailed as a visionary and genius, Jobs will be remembered for dramatically changing how we use computers, listen to music, and communicate.
I think it's very sad. I think that even though he's probably indoctrinated a lot of people who work for him to adopt his various ideas for Apple, that ultimately there's no replacement for him.
Jobs was a husband and father. He was first diagnosed with cancer in 2004. He announced a leave of absence from Apple in January and then stepped down from his position as CEO in August. Live in Boston, I'm Sarah Kanji. Paula, Carey, back to you.
Sarah, thanks so much. And everyone from musicians to fellow businessmen and politicians are joining the tributes to Jobs. President Obama released this statement. Steve was among the greatest of American innovators, brave enough to think differently, bold enough to believe he could change the world, and talented enough to do it. Apple's website this morning, a stark memorial to the company's founder and longtime CEO. Now, Steve Jobs is survived by his wife and 4 children. We'll have much more on what this loss means for the company he leaves behind coming up with the Boston Business Journal in 7 minutes.
Welcome back, everyone. 6:13. Steve Jobs leaves behind millions of iPod and iPhone users in the second most valuable company in the world. We're joined by Lisa Vanderpool of the Boston Business Journal this morning. Lisa, good morning. A very sad day for a lot of us. We lost the man who touched really all of our lives by changing technology the way it is. The question this morning is, what will become of Apple without this man?
Right. Definitely very sad news last night. And the truth is, Carrie, is that we don't really know. Obviously, Steve Jobs was no ordinary CEO. Last night in the news, people were comparing him to Thomas Edison. He was an incredible visionary, so we're really not sure yet. And he has handpicked his successor, Tim Cook, as CEO, who's going to take over Apple at a time when it's pretty much at its height of success. Year to date, the company has sold over 15 million iPads, over 55 million iPhones. Now, Jobs hired Tim Cook back in 1998, and he's really been the operations genius of Apple, but he hasn't been on the creative side. So everybody's going to be looking to Cook to see what kind of new products they're going to be coming out with, if they're going to be coming out with new products, which I'm sure they're going to try to do. Now, Cook said in August when he took over as CEO that Apple was not going to change, and he reiterated that last night, that Apple will continue to do the work that Jobs loved so much.
And Lisa, when a man with this much influence passes, there's got to be turbulence in the markets. What do you think so far, and what do you expect?
Yeah, so it's interesting, and just earlier this week, Apple's stock price took a small hit after the iPhone 4S came out, and everybody expected the iPhone 5. People were disappointed. Of course, Apple's stock is really blockbuster right now. It closed at $378 last night. But it's interesting also, Carrie, the stock price has actually risen a little bit since Steve Jobs resigned as CEO in August, so it will be interesting to see. I'd expect that today there could be a bit of a hit to it, but in the long run, it's really anyone's guess what's going to happen to it.
It should bounce back. All right, Lisa, you know, I was thinking this morning, it's almost selfish not to take a moment to mourn Steve Jobs' death today when we've all benefited so much from his creations.
Yeah.
All right, Lisa. Lisa Vanderpool joining us from the Boston Business Journal. Lisa, have a great day. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, you too.
So the early show is up next as we leave you a tribute to an American original, Steve Jobs.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.